All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of Big Ben and Friends podcast. I'm your host, Big Ben Ortmanns, and this week I'm going to be getting to know one of my friends from the pro wrestling business. Now, this man here is the first person I ever booked for Crossbody Pro Wrestling. He's the first ever Crossbody Pro Wrestling champion. He's the first and only, and I'll underline that twice, only singles title Triple Crown holder. And now it only seems fitting that you're the first person on the Big Ben and Friends episode podcast. Everybody, welcome my friend, Alessandro Del Bruno. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you, sir. No, great intro. I'm doing great. Beautiful shirt you got on there. I love it.
Thank you very much. You can pick yours up at prowrestlingtees.com/crossbody pro wrestling, where all the proceeds go to the wrestler and the graphic artist and our production staff who put a lot of hard work into everything we do over at Crossbody Pro Wrestling. And this, not going to lie, it's one of my favorites. I even made sure that it was the first Crossbody Pro Wrestling shirt that I wore once I got it from Pro Wrestling Tees. So there's a theme here. I wanted to keep this theme going. So it was important to me that you were the first person to do this and hop on board with me because just kind of that's been the theme. You're the first person to hop on board and do all these great things with me. And so far, we've been successful with them so far. So let's hope that we carry over with this one, I guess, right? So,
absolutely. Well, I'm honored to be on as the first guest. And, I also need to get myself a shirt there. So they look beautiful. And like you said, all the proceeds do go to talent because I got a nice little PayPal transfer from yourself earlier on today. So thank you very much for that.
Hopefully they'll get bigger with time. But, I mean, that's, it's something to work on, right? So the first thing that's first, I do want to make sure that we're in a comfortable setting and that we've got a drink with one another or whatever the hell it is that you do because, judgment-free zone here. So what's in your cup today, sir?
We got a coffee. During quarantine, I'm not a coffee drinker at all. But during quarantine, I enjoy staying up a little bit later at nights. So,
right.
Nice coffee after dinner, I usually just all about nowadays. It's a weird thing, but kind of getting into it.
So here's what I don't understand. You said that you're not normally a coffee drinker, but I mean, with your day-to-day job line of work, that would seem like the perfect job that you would want to drink coffee for and be alert.
Yeah.
How the hell have you never drank coffee before?
I don't know. Honestly, I think I've bbeen like that all my life. I don't even take part in espressos, which most of the Italian men do. So it's just, I've never been use that as a crush really.
Right.
So never has it been a thing in my life, or no matter whether it's wrestling or my day-to-day job, I just never was one for coffee or energy drinks or any sort of caffeinated drink. So
just just take it and go, huh?
Just do it,
That's amazing, dude. Well, yeah. I'm going to start with some line of questioning here for you. So the first thing that I want to do, just because, again, it is getting to know my friends is the theme here. Do you remember how we became friends in the first place?
Oh,
what's your memory of how we became buds?
That's tough, man. That's going way back.
I know.
Because I know you were wrestling under a mask when we first met, right? So was that the small. Go ahead.
Was that the first time we met? Was when I was doing Samoa Mo?
Yeah.
Because I knew that we were doing that angle around that time.
Yeah.
I obviously remember you guys as the Gym Rats. I remember you as Alex York when I first met you, and Scotty O'Shea, and you guys were. As crazy as it sounds now to most people who would look at you guys, well, maybe not Kurt anymore, but you guys were just so much smaller than you were even now back then.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I knew the baby versions of you and Kurt. And I mean, from my perspective, I fell in love with you guys immediately just because I remember how much, because you got in at that weird time where it was kind of like the old guard still. And I'd like to kind of think that, we were kind of a part of that final class. I think that I was a part of that final class in the old guard where you were part of that first class coming in from that new guard where they didn't like you. guys just because of your size and the way that you guys went about your wrestling. So what was that like for you? Like when you first got into wrestling, like how, because that must have been super, super difficult to overcome. So like, tell me about like what it was like for you, just kind of getting into the business just in that time frame, I guess.
Well, I mean, it was very tough, like knowing that a lot of people didn't want us around just because due to our size and stuff like that, and we needed to be a certain size or weight just to be around. And I think that's ultimately why we came up with, obviously, the gym rats, is because we were joking upon our size, which hopefully then led us to be accepted by everyone else, right? So I think going back to that, having, guys like Kurt, who was similar size than me, it was a little bit easier to get through. If I was on my own and this is how it was, and I didn't have someone so close to me like Kurt to go through it with, I wouldn't still be around.
Now we're going to get into the hardships about how you got into this in like a little bit, but I kind of want to tie this back into how we.
As big as he was.
What's that? Sorry, you kind of broke up on me there.
Yeah, no, like there was other guys as well, like the Justin Sains. He was never as big as he was. There was other guys in our core group of class there, and we were kind of just all in love with wrestling, and we all just kind of did our thing just in our group for a while, to get through that part. And then when the commission of the age and everything like that dropped, then we kind of ran with the Gym Rat name and kind of just had to prove ourselves from there. So I guess ultimately that's what we did.
So I definitely want to talk to you about like your hardships of all that stuff in a little bit here. I actually have questions specifically for that. I do want to tie this back into how we became buds though, just because I'm going to tell you what my first memory is of how we first like really kind of formed our friendship. And I kind of want to just see what your memories are of this.
Yeah. Hit me with it.
So I was talking to Aiden Prince about this like the other day, and there's situations where you know that you've met somebody, but then there's just moments where okay, that's where we became friends. That might not have been like where we met, but that was where we kind of hit it off, right?
Yeah.
I think where we hit it off was we got put into a tag team match. It was you and Kurt, and it was me and Showtime Brett Scholl. And I feel really bad that I even mentioned his name because I'm probably about to kind of crap on the great name of Showtime Brett Scholl here, and I apologize because that's not what I'm trying to do in this podcast whatsoever. But I just remember specifically that you guys didn't want him in the match. I didn't really want him as a partner because I didn't really know him and I didn't vibe with him whatsoever. You guys, for your own reasons, didn't want him in the match. So there was kind of like the three of us where we were just like, all right, well, let's kind of take him out of the match. And we pretty much, at that point in time, put together an entire match where it was literally just the three of us. And we like fed him in for like a couple of things that he still managed to screw up, I think. Yeah. But do you remember that?
I do remember that. That was May 13th, 2007. I'm looking at the date.
I didn't expect you to know the date on that.
And I remember that because it was a big deal for me and Kurt too, because those LLW shows were like a big deal to us because they were like just starting to like get some steam behind them. Like they were drawing good crowds, and we wanted to like prove ourselves on like kind of like the bigger stage for Hamilton at the time. And not to say the other promotions weren't on a grander stage. It was just LLW was doing really well.
And that was our environment. And that was the big stage in our environment. So I get it.
For sure. Yeah. And they're eventually bringing in TNA guys that were coming in for months to come, right? So we just kind of wanted to do the best job we possibly could. And we knew Brett at the time was not up for what we wanted to do. So we did. I remember that now. Yeah. And you're probably right. That is what created the bond between the three of us too.
Yeah, I think it was just because I that was the time that we were just talking about where I remember a lot of the older heads, I guess you could say, weren't really fans of you guys. And I just remember thinking to myself, because I had just gotten back off of doing the Northern Hell tour, and where I had just wrestled Kenny Omega for about a month straight. This was before Kenny Omega was Kenny Omega. Even wrestling him at the time, it just completely opened my eyes up to where wrestling was going, because he was that good when he started. So when I saw guys like you, I just immediately was kind of drawn to you guys because I understood you so much more. So I wanted to make sure that, especially for guys my size, like that I would go out of my way to like sell for everything that you guys did. And especially growing up with a best buddy who was short, Brady, Brady.
Yeah.
When we would wrestle all the time, I was just used to wrestling smaller guys. So I loved it. So trying to get in there and help you guys was something that I took great pride in. And I mean, I know that we had a lot of fun, and I think that's kind of where our friendship bonded there.
For sure. Do you have that match on file?
No, do you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my. Okay. I would love to get a couple.
I almost have every match of mine, like in my whole career. So
Get out of here.
Yeah, no, I live for it. I've tried to collect every single match that I've ever had.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's why when the crossbody stuff drops, I'm like so excited because it's like another match I got on file. So it's the best.
And we are officially all caught up. Every match that we've ever
caught up.
every match we've ever done. So one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start this project was to get to know my friends a little bit better, obviously. And, I feel like it shows it's just 95% business, just because, we're there, we're working, we got to get shit done. Right. With life being busy and as chaotic as it is, it can be hard to catch up with everybody and even get to know people on a real life basis. So tell me a little bit about yourself, like outside the ring. Like, tell me about Alessandro Del Bruno, the man. Like, I know that you're married. Like, what would your – this is maybe not a good question for a married guy, but, like, what would your Tinder profile describe you as?
The Tinder profile. Yeah, that'd be tough to – because I miss the Tinder days. Obviously, I've been with my wife. Well, we dated for 8 years, and then we recently married for 1 year. 2 days ago was our 1 year anniversary wedding.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I missed out on the Tinder years. I was 9 years in captivity. What
would your MySpace profile say?
No, I know. But for me, the guy, like Alessandro Del Bruno, the man, I think for me, like, my biggest things are like family. I know it's obviously stereotypical Italian, but like my best friends and my closest friends are like my cousins. Like, I talk to them like they're my best friends. Like, I talk to them every single day. We have group chats, like we have Snapchat group chats. We literally communicate at all minutes of the day. That's how close we are. So I mean, this quarantine's been tough to not see them all the time. But that's kind of who I am at the core. I'm just really a family guy. I would say I'm a hardworking guy, loving guy, and just a solid friend, I would say, as well. I think a lot of people that are close to me in my friendship circle would say that I'm that type of guy, and I would do a lot of things for them if they asked.
100%. I would totally agree with that. I know that there's been situations where, like, again, I've called you on numerous occasions just saying, like, even this, like, hey, I've got this crazy idea. Can you help me? And you've been there every time. And I know that with your job, like, you've even expressed to me that if I ever wanted to go and take advantage of the perks that you get with tickets and stuff like that, that was open to me. And those are things that you don't have to do. And I just know that you do that because you're a good guy. So none of that surprises me whatsoever. So, one thing I want to do is I want to go back to what we were talking about before with, the hardships you were experiencing. Cause one of the most commonly asked questions that I find on podcasts are like, how did you get into the business and all that?
Yeah.
It's kind of hokey bullshit, but like, I like digging deeper than that, or at least I want to try to. I feel like we all have got similar stories as to why we wanted to get into the business, so I don't want to ask you that. But do you remember what it was that initiated the spark to made you go, I have to do this? Like, no more talking, I need to walk this, and like actually follow through with wanting to pull the trigger and moving forward with becoming a wrestler?
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably know what I'm going to say, maybe. It was
got a good feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the moment that I saw indie wrestling and I knew it was like doable. Like, for me, going back to the stereotypical, Sean got me into it. And then Ray was like, oh my God, it doesn't matter what size I am. I could wrestle. Like, I'm not the same size as Shawn Michaels, but I'm probably bigger than Rey Mysterio at this point, so I could wrestle. But then it was like introduction to indie, and where I was like, wow, this is actually real on a different scale and not on TV, because TV's a impossible thing to get to right now. So where do I go? What do I do? And then I saw indie wrestling, and that's where I saw Alex Shelley. And then I was like, okay, I need to do this. There's no possible way I'm not going to do this. And then from there it was early on. It was like early on, and when I saw early CZW, IWA, and ROH, those, like, I fell into the 3 independent tapes. I think it was like an early Best of the Best, an early ROH video, and something with IWA involved. Those 3 indies I saw Alex Shelley at, and I was not live or anything, but it was tape traded, and I was just like, wow, this is incredible. And then from there it was research and downloading and tape trading and anything I could to get my hands on it. And then I came across, I think we were going to a WWE live event or something like that, and I had a pamphlet that talked about training, and I was like, oh, well, now it is in my community. It's in Hamilton. Like, this has got to happen. So from there, again, research and everything. And my parents said, you want to do this? You can pay for it. So I went out and got my job and did the thing.
That's awesome. And they were supportive of it, like, the entire time, eh?
Yeah, I mean, they were supportive. Like, they wouldn't pay for it because it was something that I chose to do.
Right.
So they wanted me to do it, and I appreciated the hell out of that, because that taught me a lot as a young adult, right? So, you want something, go get it. We're not going to spoon feed it to you. So that was really nice, and I took advantage of that as something I really wanted to do, and obviously been with it ever since. 15 years later.
Hell yeah! Now I do feel like we all have that moment, like, once we start to follow through with beginning to chase our dreams, like whatever it is, that we realize, holy fuck, this is a lot harder than I thought this was going to be, and this isn't what I thought it was going to be like, We all hit those walls and we get dejected, and we just question what the hell it is that we're doing there. What was your biggest obstacle? I kind of already know where this is going, and what did you do and how did you get through it?
Biggest obstacle, probably, obviously you touched upon it, would be the size at the beginning. But that kind of, just going through match by match and trying to prove myself with guys who, I looked up to, and gaining their respect, and then gaining the respect of the fans, that helped out huge, obviously. But obviously, I think my biggest obstacle would be the border. A lot of guys talk about it, but about a week ago was like my 5-year anniversary of getting flagged at the border. So that was probably.
So are you a free man now?
I guess I'm a free man now, eh?
Well, that's something to look forward to.
I don't know what that quite means yet. We'll see.
We'll see.
Not that we can even go there or anything. But that was probably my biggest obstacle. Like, I felt like 5 years ago was the time that I was about to not break out, but more of like I was ready to take that next step.
I agree with that.
And that was one of those things, man, where it like kind of crushed me, and I thought I was going to quit, just because, not that I think, you can't do anything if you're within Canada, but it's just, I felt like I wanted to just get out and stay out for a little bit to just experience all the different styles and types of wrestling out there, all the different promotions, build relationships, just everything that encompasses that, right? So I was really crushed when that happened, and being flagged, and a lot of people say different things, but when you can't even go over to enjoy, whether it's a dinner in the States or go one day shopping at an outlet mall with your wife, because you literally get pulled over for 2.5 hours just so they can look in your car for nothing. And nothing, there's there's nothing there, nothing's going on, that's the problem. So I didn't want everyday life to, affect me with the border issues. So that kind of was a big setback for me. And, I honestly looked at it. I went through a couple injuries after that happened. So I kind of took that time to refocus and relook at everything. And, I just, life was changing also. I was going to school. I was getting a job. So for me, it was a time to really, decide that, as much I love pro wrestling, no matter what, no matter where I am. And even in my later years, in this past 5 years, I think I've been having the best matches of my life in the past 5 years. So I think as much as that was a hurdle and, a setback for me, I think I'm totally content with being in Ontario for the moment and just having the best matches of my life. And one of my biggest things for me lately is wrestling guys that I've never had the opportunity to wrestle. And that has taught me a lot. And I feel like I can give back to these guys that I've never wrestled before. So having these one-on-one matches with guys that I've never worked with is something I also look forward to a lot. So,
is there anybody that's stuck out that you've wrestled, like of those new guys that that you just people should know about?
Yeah,
like anyone off the top of your just anyone off the top of your head? Because we're going to get into that more later. But what's been like one of your more favorite recent matches with like one of your younger guys?
Oh gosh, you're stumping me here now. I mean, I think.
I'll tell you what. Hold that thought, because this is actually a question that I am going to ask later. So just hold on to that thought and have that ready to go in the chamber. So what I'll do is I'm going to lead into my next question here. So
go ahead, sir.
Everybody has their first aha moment, like when you're in wrestling. And I feel like once you hit a certain level, those aha moments almost seem to kind of like happen like in spades, and they kind of like flood in and tumble in. But it just kind of makes things click, And do you remember what your true like first aha moment was, where you were just like, shit, I get this, and like I'm actually good at this, and I belong in the ring, and you didn't feel like just a kid pretending to be there?
Yeah, actually, I do. And I don't even know if many people know the match that I'm going to say, but it was a road trip. Me and a bunch of the guys went out to Baltimore, and we wrestled this. I forget what the name of the promotion was, but me and Kurt wrestled the Briscoes.
I remember this.
Yeah, and it was the first time like that. We probably wrestled names before, but like they were like a huge name, and they were a name that we've looked up to as a tag team, obviously. And it was just like we weren't even told that we were wrestling the Briscoes until like maybe like a week or half a week before, and we were just so shocked. We were like so amped. We go there, and we just know, we're going into a place that nobody knows us, Baltimore. Like, if we're in Hamilton, we're wrestling the Briscoes, maybe we got a shot.
Right.
So we're going to Baltimore wrestling the Briscoes. They've never met us. They've never even seen us. So we get there. They see us. One of them, I forget who it was, Jay or Mark, just like as we were planning the match, just wasn't interested at all in planning the match. It wasn't because of us, I don't think. I think it's just he wasn't interested in being there really at all.
Sure.
And the
Could
other
just be
one,
tired.
is same as Mark, and Jay was like totally into it, totally loved planning with us. And then he's trying to get Mark like very involved and very psyched up. Wasn't a long match or anything. It was like 8 to 10, perfect time, right? So a hot little tag. And I remember as soon as they went out first, and I remember Kurt turning to me. He's like, we're going to get booed out of the building, like not because we suck, just because nobody knows us. Mm-hmm. But like by the end of the match, like we're going to show them, we're going to prove wrong for sure. We always do.
Hell yeah.
I was like, all right, let's do it. Like we got to do it. We're here now, right? So we went out there, we killed it with them, and then we got back. And, like, they were so happy, and Mark was just so not interested, was like over the moon happy with us. And it was just like, between what Kurt had said before and like between the match and the result and what happened, and just like, and then even watching the match back, it was like, it couldn't have gone any better with a name of that size. It was just, that was the aha. And from there, it was just steamrolling ahead with tag team and singles. It was just, that was that confidence boost for me, for sure, without a doubt.
Didn't they put you over on something as well? Like after that, like, didn't they go out of their way to say something nice about you guys? Or am I completely?
I'm not sure. You might be right, because we've seen them like multiple times after, because we did a couple like Jersey tours.
Yeah.
And then they like said good things about us. Like when we worked in the ECW arena, they would say good things to like the promoter and stuff like that. But I don't think like public anywhere. But I mean, obviously great dude.
I just remember hearing really good feedback about that. But again, it's been so long since I've had to think about it. But is that match anywhere like to watch? If anybody watching this wants to check that out,
I think it's online. We should maybe if we find it, we'll post it up.
If we can find it, I'll put the link in the comments below in the YouTube section here. So I would definitely.
I think I have it on my old Alex York YouTube maybe. So I think you might get lucky.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Pull it up and link it over, and I'll and we'll put it up. That'd be a lot of fun. So, all right. I guess my next question here is.
I think we cut out.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. I think we cut out, but you're good.
Oh, okay. No problem. I guess my next question here for you, before we start to get into the kind of some training and dieting stuff that I want to talk to you about, is tell me. Let's just go over it. This is the first episode, so let's just get into something here. I didn't want to get into like anything too crazy or juicy, but I'll let you be the person to kind of go over and explain this. So you tell me your recollection of you versus Alex Shelley that never happened.
What do you mean, my recollection?
So, because I don't want to tell this. Yeah, what was you tell the story from your perspective, I suppose, like how you found out, like everything, like start from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Truthfully, to go back, let me just give you a little background on me and Shelley, because you'll like this story. You'll like this story as well. When we were doing those loops of New Jersey, Baltimore, all these shows that we would go to. Mm-hmm. This is back in the day. There was one show I got hurt in Hamilton somewhere, and I couldn't go on the road trip with the boys. So they went onto the show, and one of the shows had Shelley on it, and that would have been the first time I met Shelley. So I was like, at that point I was like, oh, I can't meet the guy. This is brutal. This is the worst. So I'll never forget. They went on the road trip, and I went to my Nana's house for dinner, one night. And I'm just sitting there having dinner, and I just, I look over and I got a missed call. I think nothing of it, right? Oh, voicemail pops up. Oh, and sorry, the missed call says New Jersey. I'm like, whatever, fake telemarketer. Then voicemail pops up. I go in the other room. I listen to the voicemail. Isn't it Alex Shelley leaving me a message? And the message is hilarious. He's pure like ribbing me, yelling at me on the phone, calling me every name in the book, making fun of me that I'm not there because of injury, all this stuff, right? So then that happens. I click delete by accident. I don't save the message.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So years later, he finally comes down to Smash, and I've never met him before. So when he was there, we met, and we told him the story, me and Kurt, and we were all dying. So that's where I have my one picture with him, and that's where I first met him. But that was years ago. So I don't feel like Shelley even knows who I am at this point, right?
Right.
So one day recently, I get a message from Holden Albright, who I guess made his debut at AIW, which Shelly was working at that night, and he just randomly says, like, Shelly knows who you are. And I was like, okay, maybe he remembers the time we took that one photo and has that voicemail, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like, he watched your stuff. And I'm like, but why would he be watching my stuff? And I was like, oh, cool, man. Like, I love it. Thanks. Like, that, I appreciate that. That's cool. Great message, right? And then, like, you know, it kind of dawned on me. And then all of a sudden, like, a couple days later, you message me. You're like, you know, this could happen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What could happen? And you're like, well, if everything goes right, you know, like, you called me that day. You're like, Albright and everything. And I was like, oh, man, Ben must have really been talking to him. And this must have been in the works for a couple of weeks or something. And, you know, like, you heard me on the phone, I was kind of speechless. And knowing that from the moment you called me, it was like 3 or 4 weeks away, not even.
Yeah.
And I was like, could this happen like this soon from when he calls me? Like, I don't even believe it. Right. And then I guess from there, it was more of, you know, a little bit back and forth with you and him and just ironing out all the details and me just sitting back and just like, is this really happening? And then, you know, I went into my Rolodex of about 500 Alex Shelley matches that I have on file.
Yeah.
And I just started studying like I always do, but I mean, I don't need to because I know the guy like the back of my hand. and I just kept getting more and more excited about the match, just more footage I was watching. And then I think, you know, as we ironed everything out and as everything came out, the graphic came out, and I was like, wow, this is, I remember I was at work and the graphic got dropped. I'm like, this is real. There's a graphic, you know, like when the graphic drops, it's real deal.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't remember anything else between then and when the graphic dropped. You know, having the whole scare with the coronavirus and everything. And as days went on, you knew that this is more unlikely to happen. So, you know, I don't know if you know this, but like, he reached out to me after it was canceled.
He did. I didn't know that, actually. What did he say?
So, no, he was just like, yes, he apologized about how the match got canceled. And he's like, he wrote this quick thing because I'd imagine he saw your post. So when he read all the information about me, he was like, I didn't realize how much of an impact I have on you. And I forget the exact words he used, but he was saying as if like his wrestling wasn't really that great.
What?
You know, he's so humble about it. He's like, you know, I didn't realize how big of an impression I had on you, like when I try to wrestle. And he's just a great guy. And he's like, but hopefully when everything goes back to normal, we can make things happen. So it was just really awesome to have him reach out like that. And, you know, we have each other on Twitter, so I messaged him back as well. And
oh, that's great, man.
Yeah. So it was just so surreal.
I genuinely had no idea that he did that. That makes me really happy because
I mean, I have a screen cap of it. I can show you if you really want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, because obviously, you know, like, I mean, that one still bothers me. Like, every time that even comes up, like, it fucking tugs at my heartstrings because, like, I worked so hard because I think I even jokingly said to you when I first called you to tell you about Crossbody that, like, man, like, if I could ever make you an Alex Shelley, I would do it. And I remember even thinking that when I first started, I was just like, there's no way that'll ever happen, but it's always good to have goals, right? Because like I always thought, man, that'd be really cool if I was able to ever do that for my friend. And then when I just Hail Married that one. Like, I mean, I just messaged him randomly and basically used you as bait and was like, hey, like, I this is what I want to do. And perhaps at like a different, I can't even remember. There's so much to talk about and discuss with him that I can't even remember, but like we were going back and forth on different dates. And then, obviously, the business end and whatnot. And, there was just so much that went into that. And that was literally the most detailed I had ever gotten into a discussion or negotiations with anybody from a promoter's perspective. So that was really all new to me. But as I'm doing this, I'm just like, man, this is all going to be worth it, because the moment that I got to speak to you on the phone and I got to hear just that's why I wanted to talk to you over the phone about it. I didn't want to message you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, hey, this is coming from me. Like, this isn't a bullshit, like, rib. Like, this is real. Like, I'm just as nervous and excited about this as you are. So I almost I wanted to apologize for letting you know too early, because that week sucked.
Nah,
Trying
that's all right, man.
Trying to go back and forth. But I guess,
in all honesty,
sorry, go ahead.
I appreciate you making that happen. Like, that was huge for me. And like, to going back what he said in his message, now I'm slowly remembering it, obviously, and I don't mean to, like, whatever, I'm not here to put myself over on the pod, but
fucking put yourself over. Do it.
No, but like he says, like, I watched all your stuff and you're really good. Like, I think we would have a killer match. So when he says that, I know that's you showing him the footage, and that, like, I appreciate that, because I know he watches that and he was like, "Oh, that's amazing."
That wasn't me, bro.
Well, I know you saying that, and you saying me and my name is making him go out and search my name in YouTube and finding my matches, and that means a lot. You know what I mean?
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because when him and I were discussing this, and I mentioned that, like, you were the guy that I wanted him to come in and work with, I think I even sent you the screen cap, but like he actually messaged me back and he was like, "Yo, Del Bruno's dope." He's like, "I would really love to do this." And then when it came down to like final negotiations, like I feel kind of bad that I'm breaking the fourth wall here, but like, I mean, like, it was, he needed this, and I'm working Del Bruno, and that's the deal.
Yeah.
So like his part of the deal was you. So it wasn't me going out of my way to do that. I think he knew who you were, and I think that you just impressed him naturally. And I think it was, if anything, it was kind of like just a cool way to blend two people who the universe needs to be together at some point in time. And fucking, we were close, and apparently just it wasn't that time. And I will do everything in my power to try to make that happen again. But I mean, let's just get through all this stuff first, right?
Yeah. No. And yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. And if I'm being honest, like, that was the kind of things that got me through not having this match, is like, like, he reached out, everything's cool. Like, he saw my stuff, and that was really like, that's an honor in itself. Like, that's how much I appreciate that guy right there. So
I want to say it's a weird closure, but it's not. It's a weird falsie, because we're going to get there.
The falsie.
And we're going to get there. We're going to get to that finish. Now,
for sure.
Now, speaking of time off here, obviously doing anything during this time off has been a pain in the ass. Have you been training? Have you been dieting? Like, what have you, what have you been doing?
It's funny. The wife is, bless her, she's getting me active. I think more, like, we're going on like steady hour walks a day. We'll do some runs. We'll do stuff like that. Eating, obviously, I like to indulge a bit, because I should.
You're Italian.
Yeah. So I mean, I try to stay healthy. Now we have our own place and stuff like that. So, spending quite a bit of extra money on groceries, just because I think I'm Chef Ramsay in the kitchen every week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
well, you Italians don't cook them small meals either. You got to cook for a fucking village.
Exactly. 2 people? Nah, don't worry about it. We'll cook for a village.
2 people? You mean 2 people for a week? Ah, I got you.
Yeah. So exactly. So we're good in that. And I mean, yeah, so I'm trying to keep active as much as I can, but no real like training. I don't got it. We just moved into this place like a year ago, so I didn't have any like weights or anything I put in this place, and you know, to go buy them or find them anywhere, that's not an option. So
Not right now. It's not. Now,
yeah.
Does this differ from how you would train normally if we were not in a pandemic? Like, do you like
Yeah.
that's one thing I definitely want to make a staple of this podcast is kind of getting to know everybody's methods to training and even just methods to dieting, you know, just because everybody has such different ways and approaches and whatnot. And I kind of just want to know what's yours, if you have one at all.
Yeah. For me, it's like I need to be into the gym if I'm going to like put on some weight or anything like that. Like I need to steady be going into the gym, and I need to steady be eating properly.
Mm-hmm.
The second I can eat terrible food. When I eat terrible food, I lose weight. So for me, it's like I need to be on a steady, you know, getting that rice, the chicken, the beef, like pasta, getting those carbs up, getting the protein up, and then going to weights. Like cardio for me, obviously, it does nothing. Like I'm one that like I have to do in-ring cardio to keep my cardio up, or do something like interval training or like, you know, sports-specific training, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I will never get on like a treadmill and run an hour. Like I just doesn't do anything for me. I have trouble when I go out for runs, you know what I mean? So for me, it's just going into the gym if I'm going steady weights and steady eating plan, and that's about it.
So sounds like you need to consume a lot of calories. I'm guessing. So like, what's a typical diet? What's a day of your diet like? Like I don't know. Do you have like for me?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say for me, I kind of know what I'm doing from like the moment that I kind of wake up till when I'm going to bed. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna eat, but like my process is there. Like I know I'm gonna wake up and have my protein shake. And then like an hour or two later, I'll start having my coffees, and then I'll genuinely wait until like the later afternoon to have like my first meal. And it's almost like this weird fasting that I do. Like I'll have a meal for like lunch. I'll have another small meal for dinner. And then I'll have like a quick little like healthy snack before like, you know, like an hour before bed. And then I'm good because I train a lot at night. So I try to keep my fuel at night. So then that way I've got something to burn. So like what do you eat during the day?
For me, I always try to eat like, you know, as they say, 2 to 3 hours every 2 to 3 hours. But when I wake up, I'm a massive breakfast guy. Like I can't do like a shake. I need to have like a full on breakfast, like a full toast, like four eggs, like full breakfast. Orange juice is a must for me every morning. But then after that, it's like every 2 to 3 hours, I'll go into whatever it is. Usually I like the rice and chicken. Then after that, I'll get into like a tuna sandwich or something like that with a little bit more bread and carbs. And then for dinner, we'll do like a pasta with meat sauce or something like that. And then before bed, I like to have another snack, whatever it may be. But then right before bed, I'll have like a small shake. I'm kind of like weaning off the shakes. So they don't really do too much for me. I'm trying to get most of my protein in from actual food.
Right.
It doesn't do anything for me anymore. Maybe I'm not having a good one, but
I was going to say with shakes, I find it completely depends on how you go about making them. Like if you're just having them like a scoop or two with water and doing the shaker cup thing, then you're going to get sick of that real quick.
That's how I do them. And that's probably not the best way, but
so
I've always been doing them.
What I'd recommend just to kind of help you like get through them is like, I'll take, do you have a magic bullet or like a blender?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a bullet?
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. So what you do is you take about like 5 or 6 ice cubes, right? And then you take like, say, a scoop and a half of protein powder. You pop that in there. You take a tablespoon of all natural peanut butter, throw that in there. You slice up a banana, you throw that in there, and then you just fill the rest with water. Boom. Not only does it thicken it up, but it adds some flavor, and it actually makes the shake just it's a nice treat, and it's almost something that you look forward to. And in the hot summer months, like it becomes that thing that you genuinely look forward to, especially if that's going to be your before bed snack, because man, it's hot all day, and then you've just got that like smoothie to snack on, but like fills you up. It's great.
Nice. All right, I'll try that. I've never been one. I mean, I've seen it done before, like 100 times. I never did the whole ice in the bullet thing with the shake. I don't know. I've gone to the old age of everyone's always like, oh, put the water with the protein. It goes to the muscles faster. Just get it in. I was like, all right, sounds good to me.
Protein's
you know what I mean?
Protein. It's you're absorbing it all the same way. Like I'm sure that there's people have different ways of like, oh, this and this. You're drinking a protein shake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
So this is where, at this point in time, Mr. Del Bruno, sir, I am going to require your quick thinking skills to be on point here.
Right.
Okay.
I'll try to be as quick off the top.
I got 10 questions that I'm going to just rapid fire at you, and I want you to tell me the first thing that pops into your head whenever I ask these questions. Now, I'm going to try to make them a little bit all over the place, so then that way you're not stuck in the same thing there. I'm gonna try and challenge you a little bit here, okay? So let me know when you're ready to go here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Your favorite match that you've been a part
of? Me and Josh Alexander.
From?
Final Act.
Ooh, okay, that's Alpha 1, and I'm sure that's available on Independent Wrestling TV if anybody wants to go watch it. Who is not on TV that needs to be on TV right now?
Jesse V.
Good answer. Who's your favorite band?
My favorite band?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I know you're into EDM. Who's your favorite fucking button pusher?
Tiesto, for sure.
Oh, all right, Tiesto. What's your favorite sports team?
Button pusher. Juventus.
That's soccer for people who don't know.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite opponent?
My favorite opponent? Scotty.
Yes. What is the biggest goal that you have set for yourself that you have actually accomplished?
Being like one of the top in Ontario.
I would agree with that. What is the next goal that you have on the list that you would like to accomplish?
Wrestle Alex Shelley.
Fuck. Okay, that's a good answer. This is where you get to put over the youth. Think 2 years or less. Give me 5 up-and-comers that people need to know about.
Yeah. Fuerza, Jesse, Mark. What am I at? 3?
That's 3.
Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
And Jesus.
That's 5. Jesus is a good one. He's
Jesus.
got a hell of a bump, that brother.
Yeah, I can't think of one right now off the top, but those 4 come to my
Those
head.
4. Okay, we're sticking with 4. What's your proudest moment thus far?
Sorry?
What is your proudest moment thus far in wrestling?
My proudest moment. I don't know.
First thing that sticks out. Doesn't have to be nothing.
Wrestling for 15 years.
I like that. And lastly, of the rapid fire questions, what is the best piece of advice that you can give somebody that wants to do what you do?
You don't have to do this as your 100% job. Just when you do it, love it. Because if you don't love it, then you're definitely taking a spot away from someone. But if you love it, you're not taking a spot away from anyone.
That's good advice. Now, to finish this off here, since you've been a good sport and you've done me the favor here and helped me out and you're doing the show and everything, I want to open the floor to you just because this is getting to know our friends thing here. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions for you? Oh, gosh. Okay. Who inspired you to start this podcast?
That's a good question. So I've been kind of wanting to do a podcast for a while, but the honest to God truth is that it scares me to try to be a voice right now in a world where it doesn't matter what you say, someone's going to tear it apart. Mm-hmm. Especially when I know that all I'm trying to do is whatever I'm trying to do has good intentions, but I know that people just have a way of being able to tear things apart. So that part always freaked me out. Another thing that always concerned me was I never felt like I was a good speaker. I've been kind of a loner growing up, so I've never really been the most social guy. So this is almost like an experiment for me because, again, like getting to know my buds is really something that I want to do just because I don't feel like before I was really in a point to really get to know people and care about them just because I've had my own issues, you know, and
Yeah.
now I'm at this point in my life where I feel like whatever those issues are, I've either gotten past or issues that I can deal with. And I've now got myself to the point where like I'm now open again to like wanting to be accepting to having people in my life again, because there was a real long time where I just didn't trust anybody. Like I knew that people had good intentions, but I just would never let anybody in past arm's length, you know? And I don't know exactly really what it was that kind of helped me, I guess, bend the elbow, so to speak, and let people in. But I think it might have even just been breaking up with that girl that I was dating that kind of just, you know, effed me up for a little while, that made me realize that I got to be more open. And, you know, there's so many things that you learn in failure that you can take on and actually become a better person because of it, you know? And that relationship, that failed relationship, has done so many great things for me and has opened so many doors and opened so many other things for me that I'm almost grateful that it happened now at this point in my life, because that's the perspective that I have. So between all of that and just wanting to face fears and just living my life, watching podcasts basically right now, because that's what entertains me. Like I love, you know, like the Bill Burt podcast, you know, obviously Joe Rogan, like Theo Vaughn, King and the Sting. Christ, there's so many. The Chip Chipperson podcast. There's just so many different things that have influenced me wanting to try this, that I just decided that, you know what, like with the pandemic the way that it is, and like not being able to create via Crossbody Pro Wrestling, I just needed to get an outlet and satisfy that creative outlet, so to speak. And I just decided that, you know, if you're going to try something, you just got to do it. And here we are doing it, you know?
Sick. I love it.
Hell yeah, man. So where can we find you on social medias? And do you have a pro wrestling tee stores? Where can we find Alessandro Del Bruno and support Alessandro Del Bruno?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a pro wrestling tee store at prowrestlingtee.com/Del Bruno. Also, you can get one of those beautiful shirts you're wearing at the Crossbody Pro Wrestling tees shirts. And I think, I mean, Instagram I have, Del Bruno 7. I really don't use that one too much for wrestling promotion, but you can definitely follow me on there and check out pictures of my dog and my wife and my other things that I enjoy in life. And Twitter is Del Bruno 7 as well, and that's mostly where I do all the wrestling promoting and stuff like that. So if you need to catch me at any shows when they eventually do happen, that is the place to do it.
Hell yeah, man. Go support Del Bruno. Go grab one of his shirts. Go follow his Instagram, because he's got a beautiful wife and beautiful dog. His life is dope, and it's really fun to watch. His Twitter is great. Great human being. I couldn't have asked for a better first guest. This is going to wrap up this first week's episode of Big Ben and Friends, everybody. I'm Big Ben Ortmanns. A huge thanks to our guest, Alessandro Del Bruno. And thank you very much for watching me get to know my friends better. And, sir, cheers.
Salud.